Hello and welcome to the Knit and Grace podcast. Today we're going to talk about 10 sweaters I want to knit in 2023. Hi there and welcome back if you are a returning viewer. If you are new here, my name is Mia and I am the maker behind Knit and Grace. And if you are a returning viewer, you're probably wondering why this video is going up so late in the month and whatever happened to my January podcast. So this month, unfortunately, things just got away from me with regard to travel. I had intended to actually publish my podcast episode on January 1st, but with traveling and all of that jazz, it just never happened. And then I kept saying, well, next weekend I'll do it. And now we're on January 14th as I'm filming this, so the day before this video goes up. And if I put it off if I put off putting out a video any longer, it's just, it's too long. And so I had other videos that I wanted to put out this month for you all, and I didn't want to postpone these videos anymore. So we're just going to say that there is not going to be a January podcast this month. So February will probably be a little bit of a long one. But with that said, this is a video that I have been thinking about putting out for a while now. And so I'm finally sitting down and recording it for you all. So this video is kind of part of my 2023 intentions and sort of how I want to go into 2023 when it comes to my making. And so I'm going to film a little knit and chat as well, which will go up after this video. But essentially, one of my goals for this year is really to knit down my stash and also to knit more pieces that I, need in my wardrobe, and also a little bit just know that I will wear over and over. So some of these will actually be reknits, which I don't do often. And so yeah, so I sort of sat down, I looked at my stash, I looked at what I needed in my wardrobe, and I made a list of the 10 sweaters that I am hoping to knit this year. So instead of making like a make 9 or anything like that, which I usually don't stick to those, I'm just sort of like, these are sweaters that I already have yarn for the most part, except for one. And so, most of the patterns I probably already own, and I have already knit before. So I know that these are sweaters that are tried and true and that I want to add to my wardrobe for the year. So what I'm going to do is, as I speak to each sweater, I'll probably have a little bit of a screen grab of the sweater as I'm looking through it here for you all. And then also I will show you the yarn that I intend to use for the sweater if I have that available. And so, 10 is, I think, a pretty conservative list of number of sweaters for me to knit in a year, but also this isn't, I'm not holding myself, sort of really steady to this list. And then also there are other things that I want to knit in this year that are not just sweaters, but I figured that this is kind of an easily digestible format of a video. And so I think for the most part, all of these sweater patterns have been out for a while now. So they're all sweaters that you might be familiar with, and also some of them you may have already seen me make or wear on the channel. So we will go ahead and get started, and I'm going to be pulling up all of the patterns on my phone. So I have my phone here with me, and then I will be putting in a screen capture of the sweater pattern. So I'm gonna go ahead and start recording on my phone so that I can show you all. Okay, so the first sweater that I am going to speak to today is the Ava sweater by Melody Hoffman of Bee Mandarins. And so this is a beautiful, very simple sweater. Here it looks like there are some pictures of some of her testers or some of the other folk that have made the sweater. But it is a very simple drop shoulder construction, and it has a sort of rolled hemline in the neck before it gets to the ribbing, and then it's just a very simple project construction. It is originally knit in Woolly Mammoth BFL Masham DK. And so the gauge is 21 stitches to 4 inches, and the size availability is from a 38.2 to a 68.1 inch bust, and it is meant to be worn with 4 to 7 inches of positive ease. And so the description here is that it is inspired by an item that she found in a thrift shop, and the shaping is interesting and flattering, so she decided to reproduce it. And so for this pattern, just scrolling back up to the pictures, you'll see that she used this really pretty pink color, dusty pink color. And I'm actually going to take very heavy inspiration from this pink that she used in my sample that I plan on knitting up. So if you are a longtime viewer of the podcast, you may have actually seen me haul this yarn that I plan on using. And so the yarn I plan on using is from Woolen Twine Fiber Studio, and this is her limited edition number 5, which is an 80% Scotch Mule, 20% Gotland blend, and it is a DK. And so the color that I picked up is the color Coral. And so it is showing up a little bit brighter on screen, and unfortunately that's just because I don't have natural lighting today. Unfortunately, I had to put on the overhead lights, but that's looking a little better. When Ilha debuted this yarn, I immediately fell in love with it, especially this color. This is the color Coral. And I immediately thought of the Ava sweater, and the Ava sweater is actually one of the patterns that she recommended with her sort of yarn rundown video. She creates detailed videos for each of her limited yarn collections, and so the Ava pattern was one of the patterns that she mentioned would work really well. So it was kind of very serendipitous, and so this is one of the sweaters that I'm planning on knitting this year. And actually my friend Melanie of Woolen Berries over on Instagram also has some of this yarn to also make the Ava pullover. So we're actually gonna do a little bit of a knit along together in February for the sweater, because I'm really hoping to knit this up so that I can wear it in the spring. So the next sweater that I plan on knitting this year is actually the one that I am wearing today, which is the Saglan Pullover by Ailbíona McLochlainn. And I'll put in a picture of me wearing it here. So this pattern I pre-knit for Ailbíona, and she has not released it yet. But I just absolutely love the fit. We recently went on a trip to Belgium, and I took this as sort of like my heavier sweater for the trip, because actually it was quite mild while we were there, and it was perfect to wear the sweater with just a trench coat over for the rainy weather that we had while we were there, and it was just absolutely perfect. It's extremely lightweight, and the fit is amazing. And so the construction is a mix of a saddle and raglan shoulder construction, so it really hugs the shoulders, especially for someone like me. I have very rounded shoulders, so I often have issues with sort of some fit across the top. And so it is bunching up a little bit here, but that's just because I'm moving around. But it actually fits really nicely down the bust, which is really great because a lot of the times I'll have a lot of bunching right here. And I chose to make this current version, which I knit in Nutiden in the color of Roa. I chose to make this a turtleneck version. And I think for my next version, I'm going to reknit it with a fold over collar. So it'll be a shorter neck folded over. And so the yarn that I plan on using for that one will also be Nutiden, which I have in my stash. And just looking here, I have a small bit of it here. And so the color I'm going to be using is called Infinitive. And so it's this beautiful purple color. And again, it's showing up much brighter on screen. Let me see. This is probably a little better. It's not quite like a deep eggplant, but it's kind of like in the eggplant family. It's not as dark as an eggplant, but it gives me like a light eggplant vibes. Is the color of this. And so I'm planning on making another one of this sweater, the Saglin Pullover by Ailbíona, and I'll link to my personal project page so you can look at it. And if you want to follow that project page, then once the pattern releases, you know, you'll be able to get the pattern. And also once the pattern does release, if you do follow me on social media, I will post about it, so you'll know when it releases. But that is going to be the second sweater, not necessarily going in order here, but this is the second sweater that I am planning on knitting this year. And so the next sweater that I'm planning on knitting this year is going to be another repeat sweater, and that is the Carbeth, and it is by Kate Davies. And so this sweater is, and I'll insert a picture of mine here as well, so you'll see what mine looks like. The original one that I knit in Lion Brand Hue and Me. And so I'm planning on knitting this one in Barocco Lanas Quick, which I don't currently actually have in my stash. So I will be adding this to my stash. Well, not necessarily adding it to my stash. I will be purchasing this one to make this sweater. So while I love the current version that I have and I wear it to death, I do want one that is just 100% wool, since the Hue and Me is, I think it does have a very small wool content, but it's mostly an acrylic yarn. And so this sweater is just a really beautiful sweater. It has a turtleneck, and then it has this really interesting shaping both along the front and the back that forms this upside down V. And what I really love about it, and then it has like really fitted sleeves. And so what I really love about it, especially as someone who is larger bust, is that it really hugs my bust. And again, it avoids that sort of bunching that I can tend to get at the underarm of sweaters. So this is just a beautiful, beautiful sweater. The original pattern, I want to say, is knit in 2 strands of DK. So let me see there, to form a bulky weight. And so it is knit on size 10.5 needles, or 6.5 millimeters, and the size range is from 36.5 all the way up to 64 inches. And I believe I knit the 5th size when I knit mine, which is the 52.5 inch bust. And so here's a description. It's a wide cropped sweater with simple lines and a deep roll neck. Swift and straightforward to knit. This is a great sweater for beginners, and I can definitely attest to that. It was an extremely quick knit. I want to say that I knit it in maybe just a little bit over a week. And let's see if she has, there are some other modeled pictures here of other folks that have knit the sweater as well. So yeah, this is a sweater that I'm really looking forward to re-knitting in 2023. And so the next pattern I'm planning on knitting is the Wild Posy jumper, again by Melody Hoffman of Be Mandarines, and this is going to be another re-knit as well. So I'll insert a picture of my original sweater, which gets so much wear, here for you to see. And so I actually knit this one in Lopi held double, which is the yarn that the sweater calls for. And so just to show you the sweater, it is a simple top-down sweater, and it has this beautiful eyelet as well as textured and wrap stitch detail. You have the ability to knit the Flora or the Luna version, and so this one here is the Luna version, which does not have the eyelet detail. It only has the texture detail. And it looks like here are some samples from her testers. And so here's a wonderful picture where you can see some of that texture of the wrap stitches as well as slip stitches. It looks like this is a progress shot. Let's see what else. But yeah, this is a beautiful, this is again the Luna version, which is the one without the eyelets. And so again, this is a pattern that I am planning on re-knitting. And it does call for Lopi, which is held double. The gauge is 15 stitches for 4 inches. She uses a size 9 and 6 needle, and so it goes all the way from a, oh, I think that's a typo there, probably a 34-inch bust all the way to a 62-inch bust, if I were to guess the missing number. Oh yeah, there it is, it's 34. It looks like it's on a different line there. And if I recall correctly, I believe I did knit the 5th size for this one, which is the 51.2. And yeah, so it is again a circular yoke textured sweater, and so I will be knitting the Flora version again, and for this time around I'm going to use Nutiden as well. So for the Nutiden color that I'm planning on using, and I'm not sure how well this is going to show up, but I am planning on using the color Vasen for mine. And so this is the color. Actually, yeah, you can definitely see some of the pinks in there, and it's just a very light, it's a natural undyed kind of with very subtle flecks of pink. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful color. And so for my first version, I actually modified the pattern to lengthen the body. So I didn't make the first version of the pullover cropped. I made it full length. But for the version that I'm going to knit with the Nutiden, I am going to make it a cropped sweater so that I can wear it with my high-waisted skirts and dresses. So the next pattern that I plan on knitting this year is a new to me pattern, but I'm sure you all are very familiar with it because it was all the rage last year, and it is the Miles shirt jacket by Hayley Smedley of Ozetta. And so this shirt jacket, I mean, it's what to say about it. It's a shirt jacket, you know, it has really great simple lines. It has a really beautiful drop shoulder design. It has a scalloped sort of a split hem situation on the side. And it's just a big, oversized, chunky shirt jacket. Has beautiful pockets, and you might actually recall that I tested the Miles tee for Hayley, which is essentially in this pattern family. And so you'll see that again, this one was the first, I believe, of the Miles edition of her patterns. And so this, let's see, this pattern is knit up in Wool Dreamers Mancha Lopi, which is an Aran weight yarn when you hold it held double, so it is an unspun yarn again. And that will give you an Aran weight for a gauge of 15 stitches to 4 inches. And so this pattern comes in sizes extra small to 5XL. And let's see, I believe she indicates here, yep, here we go. So the finished bust circumferences for the jacket are 43 inches all the way to 71 inches, and it's meant to be worn with 11 to 12 inches of positive ease. So I think for my bust size, I would probably knit the 5th size, which is going to give me just a little less than the 11 to 12 inches of positive ease that she's intending for. So it'll give me about 10 inches of positive ease. But otherwise, if I go up to the 6th size, I think it'll be too much positive ease. So I will probably end up knitting the 5th size, which is the XL. And so the yarn that I ordered for this is, I actually did order the Mancha Lopi for this shirt jacket. And so I ordered it from Montraco, and they have kits of the jacket available depending on your size, and you are able to, I believe it's a 10% discount because you're ordering it as a kit specific to the pattern. You do have to purchase the pattern separately. So I believe that I got the same color that Hayley used, and I'll insert it here because I completely forgot the name of the color, but this is what the Mancha Lopi looks like. And so it's just this really light gray color. And as you can see, it comes plated up already, held double. So you don't actually have to plait it double or, you know, ball it up double like some of the other unspun yarns. And so, yeah, so I think I got 6 plates of this one, which is the amount indicated for my size. And so that is going to be one of the projects that I plan on knitting up this year. Okay, so the next pattern that I'm planning on knitting up this year is the Oksa by Caitlin Hunter of Boylan Knitworks. And so this is one that if you watched my Rhinebeck recap video, you will have seen me mention. And because I got the yarn for this sweater at Rhinebeck. And so this is another circular yoke, textured circular yoke pattern. So I guess that's going to be my sort of theme for the year. And it's just has this beautiful texture. It has this really pretty detail at the ribbing where it has just a slight roll. And it's just, I mean, look at that texture. It's just absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. And so this pattern is originally intended for Woolfolk 4. And it is a worsted weight. The gauge is 20 stitches to 4 inches. It uses size 6 and 7 US needles, or 4 and 4.5. And the finished bust circumference is going to be anywhere between 32 to 68 inches. And so for this one, I will probably be knitting the 6th size, which is the 52 inch. And let's see, it looks like there was at one point a pattern, but it is knit top, or I should say a coupon code. But the sweater is knit top down in the round and features a yoke design with slip stitches, cables, and simple knit and purl design. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to working up this beautiful, beautiful sweater. And the yarn that I have picked out for it is Bare Naked Wool, Better Breakfast Worsted, and the color that I purchased is Milk and Honey, which, oh no, that's a dye lot. So yeah, it's just called Milk and Honey. And this is a 65% merino, 35% de-haired alpaca. And so that's what it looks like. And it's just this beautiful, warm, oatmeal-y color. I mean, Milk and Honey is a perfect description for this. And it kind of even has like a little bit of a pinkish undertone. But it's just this beautiful, just natural color. And so I'm really excited to work up this sweater in 2023. And so the next sweater that I have on my list is another one that I spoke to in my Rhinebeck recap video, and it is the Cinnamomum Pullover. I can never say the word Cinnamomum Pullover. And it's by Teti Lutsak. And again, this is another circular textured yoke sweater. And it is just absolutely beautiful. The sample, or the original sample, is knit in a beautiful rust color. It looks like these are a few of the tester or other pattern people who have made the pattern photos. And it's just absolutely amazing. Oh my god, I even look at this blue. It's really, really beautiful. And so this is a pullover sweater. It was originally designed in Retrosaria Vovo, which is a sport weight. The gauge is 22 stitches to 4 inches. Knit on size 7 needles, which is 4.5 millimeters. And there are 9 sizes to fit a bust circumference of 29 all the way to 61 inches. And so again, this is a close-fitted round yoke pullover. It says it has a rather unusual construction to create the beautiful textured yoke, and it is knit from the bottom up with a provisional cast on for the yoke. So this will be really interesting to see how this ends up working up, especially since it does look like it has a little bit of a higher difficulty level. But I'm definitely not one to shy away from a very detailed pattern. And so the yarn that I picked up for this sweater is Primrose Fiber Co. It is their Rowan Sport Weight, which is a 3-ply sport, and it is 60% American Superwash Merino, 40% non-superwash Merino, and it is spun and dyed in York, Pennsylvania. And the color that I picked up is the Bonfire color. Let's see if it'll focus. So it is showing a little bit more like orangey red on screen, but yeah, it is. This looks better. Just this beautiful, beautiful red color. And so this is going to be one of those sweaters that we'll see when we make it. I typically don't make red things, or like very in your face red. Red is not a color that I have traditionally really worn too much in terms of my pullovers, but I fell in love with this with this color, and I just think it looks really well with my skin tone. So hopefully that means that I'm gonna wear it a lot. But this is what I'm planning to knit that sweater up in. So the next sweater that I plan on knitting up, and this will probably be a sweater that I knit up in the spring or right before the spring, is the Piazza tee by Sari Nordlund. And so this is a short sleeve tee, and it has this beautifully intricate cable and bobble pattern that goes down the center of the top. And it has like these longer sort of short sleeves, longer length short sleeves. Try saying that twice with my Invisalign in. So yeah, it's just an absolutely beautiful tee. And one thing that I really found that I wanted more of last year in my closet was more tees. So that is where the inspiration for this has come from. And so the pattern is recommending Brooklyn Tweed Arbor, which is a DK. The gauge is 20 stitches to 4 inches. Knit on a US 6 or and 4 which is a 4 and 3.5 millimeter needles. And the finished circumference size are 31.5 to 63 inches. Apologies, not sure what the light just did there. And so this top is knitted seamlessly from the top down with the crossing cable and lace patterns using the bobbles. The back and front are knitted flat down to the armholes. Then the pieces are joined and the body is knit in the round, and then you pick up for the sleeve. So it's giving you that set-in sleeve feel without actually having to set in the sleeves, which is nice. And so yeah, I mean, it's just an absolutely beautiful pattern. And so the yarn that I plan on knitting this with is one of my cones that I picked up. So I have talked about this before. And so this is a woolly knit merino cone, and this is in the color Galette. And so it's just this beautiful pinky beige color. It's kind of like a peachy beige color. It's just absolutely gorgeous, and I think that this is going to make a really beautiful tee, especially with the merino. You can already feel how soft it is, so I think like once you wash it, it's going to be absolutely heaven. So really excited for that. So the next pattern that I plan on knitting this year is the Ilha by Orlane Sucche, and this is one that I am going to be using some leftover yarn to knit up. And so this is a beautiful lightweight pullover sweater. Again, we're looking at the circular textured yoke construction. It does have some texture along the hem of both the sleeves and the body, and then it has some texture that goes down the seam or the sides of the sweater. And so this is a close-up of what that texture looks like, and it's just absolutely stunning shirt. And so this was originally knit in Retrosaria in a fingering weight yarn, and the gauge is 21 stitches to 4 inches. Needle size are US 6 and 4, which are 4 and 3.5 millimeter. And so the sizes available are 38 3/4 all the way up to 63.5 inches. And so it's available in English and French. And it doesn't look like, let's see, actually, yep, it looks like there is a little bit of information on the sweater here. And so it says that it's worked top down in the round. After the delicate yoke, the top of the sweater is shaped with raglan increases, which I really like. That's the same way that the name has escaped me. The Renanguillas is knit, where it's a circular yoke and then you have raglan increases, and the fit of that sweater is absolutely amazing. So I think that that's gonna be great for this sweater as well. And then once you you know, then essentially you just knit in the round with the pretty braids that go up the side. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this sweater. You can knit it. It looks like some people have knitted short sleeves as well. And it's just absolutely beautiful. So for my sweater, I actually plan on using the leftovers from my woolly knit cone that I used for my the first cardigan test knit for Lizzie of Hive Knits. I brought in the wrong cone, so I'm not gonna even bother to go get it, but it's just, you know, a really beautiful like, it's called almond, so it's just a really beautiful cream color, and so I have enough left of that cone to be able to knit this sweater, and so it'll be amazing that I can get 2 sweaters out of 1 cone. So I'm really excited for that. And so the last sweater that I'm going to speak about today is the Gentle Lopi by Melody Hoffman. So I think it's going to be a year of Melody's patterns over here. And so this is a beautiful tunic style sweater, and it is extremely oversized, as you can see by some of her testers, and even the pattern as it fits her. And so it has a very deep raglan with really oversized sleeves, and it has a high-low split hemline. And then what's really nice about this is that once you're finished with the sweater, you actually create a crocheted braid along the edges of the sweater, both with the raglan increases at the neckline and at the hemlines of both the sleeves and the body of the sweater. And so this sweater is knit in Lopi, held double, and it has a gauge of 16 stitches for 4 inches. The recommended needle size are US 9 and US 6, or 5.5 and 4 millimeter needles. And so this pattern is available in 5 sizes. And so the pattern is actually quite oversized. It's meant to be worn with 4 to 7 inches of positive ease. And so it has sort of buckets of size ranges for the pattern. So you have 30 to 36 inches, 36 to 42, 42 to 48, 48 to 54, 54 to 60. And so the size that I plan on knitting, and actually I've started knitting, is the 3rd size, which is the 42 to 48 inches. And so let me see here. So I believe that there are indications of what the finished measurements are. Maybe, no, it doesn't look like she has the finished measurements available in the description, but it is available obviously once you purchase the pattern. And so that's how I determined which size I wanted to make for mine. So I will be making the 3rd size. And so for mine, I'm actually also using Lopi held double, and this is Lopi that has been in my stash for quite some time, and I'm so excited to finally be getting out of my stash. So first, I will show you the 2 colors that I'm using. And so the 2 colors that I'm using are 1038, which is this color here, the lighter beige color, and 1030, which is the darker beige color. And so the 1038 I think is called light beige heather, and then the 1030 is called wheat heather. And so these are very similar to the colors that she uses in the pattern. I believe she used 1038 and 3. So my darker color, which is that wheat heather color, is actually slightly darker than the one that she used in her pattern. So even though her pattern is marled, it's not as noticeable that it is a marled. And so I've just this morning split for the sleeves. So this is what it's looking like. And that is the marl that you can see. So I'm really excited for this sweater, and I plan on wearing this thing to death, especially whenever we go up to my sister's house in the Catskills. I think this is going to be my perfect sweater to do my daily walks around the property that I like to do, and just to sit by the stream and do some knitting. So yeah, so that one is already in progress. So again, these are the 10 sweaters that I am planning on knitting in 2023. Who knows how that will actually go, since we all know that, you know, I'm always brought in by the new bright shiny things, so I will probably get distracted from this list, but there are definitely a few things on this list that I will be making again, just because I know that I need them in my wardrobe. So I'm really excited for this list. I'm really excited to knit down some of my stash yarn. Let me know what some of the patterns that you're planning on knitting this year are. Maybe we can, you know, give each other ideas as to what patterns we're planning on knitting. If you're planning on knitting any of these patterns, let me know. Or if you have knit any of these patterns, especially the ones that I haven't knit already, let me know how you like those patterns. I'm really excited to see, you know, how all of these turn out. And yeah, I mean, again, this is a kind of, you know, a fast and loose list, primarily because I do have the yarn for all of these projects. I do want to start knitting down some of my stash, but also because these are holes in my wardrobe that I would love to fill this year. I hope that the start of the year has been treating you well and that you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please do all the things, you know, subscribe, like, hit the bell icon, and I will see you in my next video, which will be a little bit of a knit and chat, going over my 2023 creative intentions for the year. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.